Now Visual Studio shows me this this wizard, and don't press finish. Go ahead and press next because we have a few options for our C++. We're going to pick an empty project. We're going to build things from scratch in this course, so we'd rather it be empty. We don't want a bunch of extra stuff that we don't need or want. So we want to make sure when we're typing stuff in that we understand what we're typing. Finishing it. It will take a second because my computer is not the fastest. So you should have time. All right, so it opened up and I did pick empty project. So it is empty, but there are a couple things in this folder. So when we look on the right side, we see the Solution Explorer and it says Hello World. That's what I named it. And we have a solution with a project, and that ++ means I have a C++ project. Then it has references, nothing in here because I haven't typed any code, and nothing in any of these. Where we want to start is we want to go to the source file and right click on that. And we're going to add a new item. A source file is just actual code. So we're going to type in code using a C++ file. So make sure in your Visual C++, if you need to click on code, you can do that. CPP. And that's kind of the abbreviation. There's other abbreviations. You can see a .h is also a type of C++. And we're going to call this our hello source. And add. Waiting for it. Yeah, see? Slow. All right, so we have hello source.cpp, and I've done a few settings changes, so you can see that mine's dark. One thing I did was I went in the preferences. So I think that's right under tools and options or customized. And what I did was I put line numbers just so that it's easier for me to keep track. And when I say line 17, you know what I'm talking about. So we're going to start by writing a little Hello World application. There's a few things we need. Right at the top, we're going to type in that hashtag, that pound, and type in include. Pretty much all of our C++ are going to start with an include statement. And what we're going to include today is IO stream. IO, the I stands for input, and the O stands for output. So we're going to input and output. Input is anything that the user types in, and output is when we send something from the code to the screen. So we're going to output something, but we're not going to input. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to type in int main. And this is going to be in every C++ program we do. And I put int main always has parentheses. So a lot of times when people are beginning and they're like, you know what, it's not running and I have no idea why it's not working. Sometimes it's as small as forgetting int or forgetting these parentheses or also these curly brackets. So you have to press shift. They're over by the P on the US keyboard. So now I have my int main. And you're going to see when I typed this one, Visual Studio automatically added this one because Visual Studio tries to help us out in that way. Because if we leave this off, we're going to bug out. The next thing we want to add is we're going to add the following line, std : So that means we have a standard comment. And so our standard code is going to be cout. We're outputting something to the screen. And we do that by using these two arrows right next to the M key on your keyboard. And then we're going to type in our message. So my message is going to be hello world. And I feel like shouting it, so I'm going to type that. And the last thing is a little trick. I'm going to type in a little /n. Now, the reason I did that is actually a special character. This will not appear on the screen, okay? So we're going to end our line with a semicolon. Pretty much when you're in C++, a lot of the things that a lot of the lines you're going to type are going to end with a semicolon when you're inside of a main function. The next thing we're going to type is std, because we have another standard comment, and we're going to do cin, input. But what we're going to do is we're going to do input.ignore, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in our next level. The last line is what we want to end our program with, return 0. Now, technically, this would run without this line. I like to put it because main says int main, so it should return something. And I always return 0 if things are good. I return something else if things are bad. And we'll go more into returns when we get a little bit further down the line. So this is our first application. We don't need to know the ins and outs of everything, but we're going to notice a few things. We need to include IOStream. We need to type our int main. We needed our output, and we need to put our message in quotations. The other thing is we did a see and ignore. This is our input from the keyboard, but we're not actually going to do anything with that, so we're just going to ignore it. And the last thing, we end with return. So we want to find out if this worked, so we're going to press play. And it says, hey, the project is out of date. Would you like to build it? The answer is yes. We haven't built it yet. So when you write code in C++, it doesn't just run. It's not like something that just automatically is live. So we press play, and it builds the program for us. The code, we can't just open the code file and it'll run the program. We actually need to build the program from that source file. So it's building, and you can see it's running through. You can see in the blue down here, it says the build succeeded. So I'm waiting for it to pop up. Let's see, where is it? Now I have debugger running, so a lot of things are happening here. But what you're going to see is my console window pops up and it says hello world. Hello world. It doesn't have that /n because that is actually a special sequence. That special sequence means go to the next line. Okay, so that's why we're down here instead of being right at the end. Okay, so if I were to X that out and take that away, it says, oh no, it's out of date. Do you want to build it again? And yes, we want to build it. If you press no, it's just going to run what it was last time you ran it. And you can see now I haven't started on the next line. It really doesn't matter for this one so much. And it's waiting for us to put in input. It doesn't care what we put. So if I type F, G, H, whatever, and enter, it's going to go ahead and exit, okay? And so whenever we hit that return 0, it exits. There are a couple things you can do to make this a little bit more unique. Hello World is just supposed to output something. So we could change this code to anything you wanted, and you have your first like custom program. So you could change it to say, you have pretty eyes. It'd be very complimentary. And then when we run it, it would output, you have pretty eyes. And maybe you want to put a new line, maybe 2 of them, okay? And that is your first C++ program.